What's interesting is you mentioned this sort of coaching arrangement. You look at the videos, you see the team in training. It seems like you said, that Paul Putt is very much involved in some ways. It seems like he's the head coach. He seems like he's out there almost, just kind of keeping a very close eye on what's going on. But there's also a co-coach arrangement here. What do you think about this sort of, coaching arrangement? Could this be an issue of, too many cooks, spoiling the broth or something like that? Or do you think they can find a symbiotic relationship here that could really benefit the team more than having just one coach who's running things?
Yeah, I think for sure the point you make is that sometimes if there's too many voices or too many people with an opinion, it can muddy the waters a little bit. And just like you said, Paul Putt is the senior coach amongst them. For sure, he'll be, I think, giving advice, but I think there needs to be a limit in terms of his interventions. And understanding that if he's not going to be sitting on the bench, which I don't think he will be during the games, potentially he will be going to the dressing room maybe before the game and at halftime to give observations. But there has to be a limit. There has to be a limit, because he may end up in this situation undermining the authority of the coaches who've been given the job. And those coaches will also want to feel that they can come with their way of doing things, with their own ideas, and not feel overburdened or put under pressure to do things that they don't agree with. For sure, Coach Morley would have worked with Paul Putt and would have said, okay, I'm your assistant when it's the senior national team, or I'm happy to play second fiddle. But for sure, for this one, I don't expect him to turn around and be less hands-on than he always is. I think he's going to want to take the reins. I think he's going to want to make sure everybody knows that he's in charge, and his assistant coaches that they are the ones running the show. What invariably happens is that if things go wrong, maybe you won't see Paul Putt so much in the forefront, because questions will be asked to say, well, what is he telling them? But trust me, if things are right, if results are positive, and all of a sudden the reports will come out. Oh yes, it's Paul Putt who's come out and he's told them this, he's told them that. It's just human nature, and it's just how it goes. But I think you make a really good point. It's really important that they all have to be on the same page, singing from the same hymn sheet, because too many cooks spoil the broth for sure, and they have to be really, really targeted in terms of making sure the message is clear for the players. Because at the end of the day, the players don't want to be seeing, oh, it's Paul Putt the one doing this, so I need to do this to impress Paul Putt. But Coach Morley has asked me to do this. Why? And that's where things can get a little bit